My entitled cousin demanded I give her my wedding venue because she deserved it more. When I refused, she crashed my wedding and screamed, "You stole my fairy tale." My aunt smirked, "We told everyone you canceled." I turned to the guests and said, "Then let me tell you what they didn't expect." I never thought my wedding would become the battleground for family drama, but here we are. My cousin, Sophia, has always had a flair for the dramatic, but her latest stunt took things to a whole new level. James and I got engaged last year. We were over the moon and immediately started planning our dream wedding. After visiting several venues, we fell in love with the Grandview Manor. It's this beautiful estate with sprawling gardens and an elegant ballroom. We booked it for June 15th and sent out our save-the-dates. Enter Sophia. She's always been competitive with me, though I never understood why. A month after our announcement, she declared her engagement to Mark. I was happy for her, genuinely. But then she dropped the bombshell. She wanted to get married at the Grandview Manor too. She called me one evening. "Hey, I heard you booked the Grandview Manor," she started. "Yeah, we did. It's such a lovely place," I replied. "Mark and I have always dreamed of having our wedding there," she said, her tone dripping with expectation. I sensed where this was going. "It's a popular venue," I said cautiously. "Would you consider giving up your date for us? We really deserve this, especially after everything we've been through," she pressed. I was floored. "Sophia, we've already made deposits and informed our guests. Changing now would be nearly impossible." Her voice turned cold. I thought family would support each other. Clearly, I was mistaken. The following weeks were tense. Family members started reaching out, subtly suggesting I accommodate Sophia's request. Apparently, she had been painting a picture of me as unyielding and selfish. Even our grandmother chimed in, saying, "Sophia has had a tough year. Maybe you could find another venue." I stood my ground. "We've made our plans, and we're sticking to them," I reiterated to anyone who brought it up. Fast forward to the wedding day. Everything was perfect: the weather, the setup, the atmosphere. As James and I stood at the altar, ready to exchange vows, the doors to the ballroom burst open. In walked Sophia, wearing a white dress. "You stole my fairy tale," she screamed, tears streaming down her face. Gasps echoed throughout the room. My aunt, her mother, followed closely behind, a smug look on her face. "We told everyone you canceled," she announced, as if that justified their intrusion. I took a deep breath, trying to maintain composure. Turning to our guests, I said, "I'm sorry for the confusion. Clearly, there have been some misunderstandings. But since we're all here, let's continue with the celebration." The officiant, after a brief pause, proceeded with the ceremony. Sophia stood there for a moment, stunned, before storming out, dragging my aunt with her. After the ceremony, family members approached me, apologizing for the scene. It turns out, Sophia had indeed spread false information about our wedding being canceled. Some relatives had even planned to attend her wedding that day, only to realize there wasn't one. In the end, James and I had our dream wedding, despite the unexpected drama. It was a stark reminder that sometimes, family can be the source of the most unexpected challenges. As if Sophia storming in like some kind of uninvited soap opera villain wasn't enough, things got even worse after the wedding. The next morning, James and I were still floating from everything. We had coffee in bed, read the sweet messages from guests, and just took it all in. Then my phone started buzzing nonstop. At first, I ignored it. But it kept going: texts, calls, notifications. When I finally checked, my stomach dropped. Sophia had posted on Facebook, tagging me, with a huge caption, "My cousin Emma stole my venue and pretended she didn't." We were promised that date by the venue manager, but she paid extra to shove us out. Family should mean more than money. We told everyone our ceremony was moved, not cancelled, but she went through with hers anyway. I hope it was worth ruining a relationship for. Hundreds of comments. Mostly from people I didn't even know. A few mutual friends, siding with her. One comment that stung the most: "Wow. Typical Emma. Always needs the spotlight." My hands were shaking. James grabbed the phone and scrolled through the mess. He looked as pissed as I felt. "She's going full scorched earth," he said. And she was. She didn't just stop at Facebook. Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok, she made videos crying, showing pictures of a venue brochure, and talking about how I robbed her of her dream. It was all nonsense, but it got her attention. She framed herself like a victim of some cruel, selfish cousin who couldn't let her have one nice thing. At first, I wanted to ignore it. Let people talk. But then my job got involved. I work in public relations. Image matters. A few clients reached out, asking if I was okay. One asked, "So, did you really sabotage your cousin's wedding?" They laughed, but it stung. I emailed a statement to my manager, explaining what really happened. She was supportive, but reminded me that public perception is complicated. James said, This isn't just a personal attack anymore. It's slander. That's when we decided to do something about it. We contacted the venue and asked for a copy of our signed agreement, receipts, emails, everything. They were happy to provide it. We also got a letter from the manager confirming Sophia had never booked or held a date with them. She toured the place, yes, but never followed up. That detail became important. We debated going public with it. I didn't want to be petty, but she crossed every line. Then I remembered, one of my friends, Mia, was a freelance journalist. She didn't write gossip columns. She did human interest pieces. I called her and asked if she wanted a story. She listened to the whole thing in silence. Then said, absolutely. She wrote the piece like a case study on modern entitlement. It was tasteful, not vengeful. She included quotes from the venue, anonymized the names, and broke down what happens when personal drama meets social media. When it was published, it blew up, way more than I expected. People connected the dots quickly. Despite the name changes, everyone knew it was us. Sophia lost it. She sent me texts so long they looked like short novels. One said, "How could you? I was hurt and emotional, and you humiliated me in front of the whole internet." I didn't respond. Neither did James. We were done feeding her fire. A few days later, I found out she wasn't done. She'd contacted the venue again, this time trying to book a date for the following year. They refused. Politely. But word got back to us, they considered banning her entirely after the way she treated their staff. Apparently, she'd called one of the receptionists a brainless assistant when they didn't let her talk to the manager right away. Then came the family group chat. My aunt, Sophia's mother, messaged everyone, "We're deeply hurt by the way Emma has treated Sophia. All we ever wanted was peace and fairness. What she's done is unforgivable." I replied, "Let's be clear. Sophia tried to hijack my wedding, lied about me online, and caused chaos in front of 150 guests. You may excuse that." "I won't." Silence. Except for my dad, who wrote, "Proud of you, kid." But here's the twist no one saw coming. A few weeks after everything died down, I got a call. From Mark. Yeah, Sophia's fiancé. Or ex-fiancé, I should say. He sounded tired, defeated. "I need to talk to someone who doesn't hate me right now," he said. I agreed to meet him at a cafe near my office. James was fine with it. He actually encouraged it, curious what this guy could possibly want. Mark looked rough. Not dirty or anything, just hollow. "I broke it off," he said, after barely touching his coffee. I couldn't do it anymore. She wouldn't let it go. The wedding, the story, everything. She's obsessed. He paused, looked down. I didn't know she was like that until it was too late. I didn't say anything. Just let him talk. She told her friends I cheated on her. I didn't. I just left. Quietly. She started dating someone else a week later, probably to make me jealous. He took a deep breath. "She told me once, if she couldn't have the wedding of her dreams, she'd ruin yours." That part hit me like a slap. So it was never about love. It wasn't even about the venue. It was about control. Image. Winning some imaginary competition we were never in. And now, she'd lost everything but was still out there, telling anyone who would listen that I was the villain. Mark left after that, quietly. I haven't seen him since. But I know this isn't over. Because 2 nights ago, James and I got a card in the mail. No return address. Just a glittery envelope, sealed with wax. Inside was a photo of Sophia in a white dress, standing in a garden. No guests, no decorations. Just her, smiling at the camera. On the back, written in thick black marker, were 5 words, "You haven't seen anything yet." At first, James and I laughed it off. The creepy photo, the cryptic message, it felt like Sophia was throwing her last Hail Mary. But deep down, something about it gnawed at me. That weird chill, the way it was handwritten, the wax seal, it didn't feel like a joke. It felt intentional. 2 days later, my old college roommate, Tasha, messaged me out of nowhere. "Hey, weird question. Did you hire someone to film your wedding other than the videographer?" I blinked at the screen. "No, just the guy from the package we booked." "Why?" "Because there's this video going around on TikTok. Someone secretly recorded you during your vows. The angle isn't from the front, it's from the side, like someone hiding behind the curtains or something." I felt like the blood drained from my face. James was in the kitchen making dinner. I called him over and showed him the message. He looked at me, confused, then concerned. We searched TikTok using every tag we could think of, #wedding drama, #cousin wars, even #Emma and James. Finally, we found it. The video was grainy but clearly from our wedding. The caption read, "This is what it looks like when fake people lie to everyone's face." #not her day, my voice came through, saying my vows to James. You could hear sniffles, a few ahs, but over it all, a faint voice whispered near the mic, "She doesn't mean it. She's fake." James froze the video. The whisper was close. Too close. Like someone standing just behind the person filming. We rewatched the clip about 10 times. The camera slowly pans to the side at the end, just for a second, and we caught a glimpse of a pink lace sleeve. Sophia wore a pink lace shawl that day. Someone had filmed our wedding secretly. And that someone was probably Sophia. But that wasn't the twist. I called the venue. Asked to speak to the coordinator. She remembered us clearly. We did notice someone wandering where they shouldn't be during the ceremony, she said carefully. A woman in pink. Security asked her to leave the restricted area. She said she was with the media. I assumed it was part of your videography team. It wasn't. She lied her way in. Filmed our wedding. Whispered insults during the most important moment of my life, and then posted it online. I reported the video. TikTok took it down a day later. But the damage was done. People had downloaded it, re-uploaded it, rehashed the drama. And then the second wave hit. A podcast. Some drama influencer who specializes in wedding disasters did a whole 30-minute episode titled, "The Cousin Who Hijacked a Wedding, or Did She?" She played both sides, analyzing Sophia's claims and mine. Spun everything into a he said she said mess. At one point she even said, maybe Emma did pull some strings to get the venue first. We'll never know. It was surreal. I wasn't a celebrity, I wasn't famous, but somehow I was now content for total strangers to judge and dissect. Then it got weirder. My maid of honor, Becca, called me. Hey, I didn't want to worry you, but I got a weird email. She read it to me. It said, Emma pretends to be sweet, but she's manipulative and cruel. Watch your back before she turns on you too. Some people are snakes in white dresses. There was no name. Just a burner Gmail address. Becca tried to trace it, but no luck. We knew it had to be Sophia or someone on her side. That's when we started keeping notes. Documenting everything. The social media posts. The emails. The texts. We weren't sure yet what we'd do with it, but we were building a file. James even installed security cameras at our house. I thought he was being paranoid until one night, about a week later, we were watching TV when the doorbell rang. It was past 10 p.m. James checked the doorbell cam from his phone. There was no one there. Just a bouquet of dead flowers in a vase, left on the porch. A note stuck to it, written in messy cursive. Nothing beautiful lasts. I went cold. James handed the phone to me wordlessly. The next morning, I got a call from my boss. One of our biggest clients had pulled out. We're not blaming you, she said. But all this online chatter, it's hard to ignore. We're a lifestyle brand. We can't be tied to internet drama right now. That was it. I snapped. I reached out to a lawyer. Defamation. Harassment. Libel. Every piece of digital evidence was stacked high by then. The anonymous accounts, the fake emails, the video hell, even the dead flowers. Our lawyer told us we had enough to send a cease and desist, and potentially press charges if it continued. We sent the letter to Sophia's last known address. 5 days later, we got a response. It wasn't a legal rebuttal. It was a handwritten letter from Sophia, folded inside a birthday card. The front had a cartoon kitten and said, "Let's be friends again." Inside, her message read, "You've always had everything. This time, I wanted something for me. You took it like you always do. You didn't even notice what I lost. You only ever see yourself. But you'll see more soon. This story isn't over." There was a tiny smudge near the corner. It looked like a tear. Or maybe just water damage. We handed it over to the lawyer. But neither of us slept well that night. James and I didn't see Sophia for nearly 2 months after the letter. She vanished from social media, stopped showing up to family gatherings, even ghosted her own mother, which honestly surprised everyone. Her silence wasn't comforting, it was eerie. Like the quiet before a storm. The calm finally shattered at my cousin Daniel's wedding. He and his fiancée had planned a small, simple ceremony in upstate New York, mostly extended family. I debated not going. The idea of walking into another wedding with Sophia potentially lurking made my stomach twist. But Daniel was one of the few who had supported us through the chaos, and I didn't want to let him down. James and I kept a low profile. Sat in the middle rows, smiled, clapped, avoided eye contact with anyone who might cause drama. For the first hour, everything went fine. Then Sophia showed up. She walked in during the reception, just as dinner was being served. Her entrance wasn't loud or dramatic like at my wedding, no screaming, no declarations, but her presence was like a live wire in the middle of a calm room. Everyone noticed. The air shifted. People stared. She wore a floor-length black dress and heels too high for the gravel outside. Her makeup was heavy, her hair overdone. And she was alone. When she spotted me, our eyes locked. She didn't smile. Didn't look away. Just stared. James put his hand on mine under the table. "Don't react," he whispered. "Not here." But Sophia didn't want subtle. Not anymore. An hour into the reception, right in the middle of Daniel's speech, Sophia stood up and walked to the mic. People laughed, thinking she was adding something sweet. Even Daniel gestured like, "Go ahead." She tapped the mic, then stared directly at me. "I have something to say," she began. James's grip on my hand tightened. Everyone went quiet. "I want to apologize," she said, voice steady. "To everyone here. To my family. And to Emma." I froze. I've been bitter. I've been angry. And I thought if I couldn't have what I wanted, I'd make sure no one else could enjoy it either. Her voice cracked, just slightly. "I thought you took something from me. But the truth is, I lost it long before you even got engaged." Gasps. Some awkward shifting. My aunt visibly tensed behind her. "I lied," Sophia continued. "About the venue. About the promises. About everything. I never had a date booked. I never even put down a deposit. I just wanted to feel like I was in control." She looked at me, eyes glassy. "You were right to stand your ground. I hated you for it, but deep down, I respected it too. I'm sorry for hurting you. For the video. The lies. The letters. All of it. I didn't know what to do. People were staring at me now, waiting for some response. My heart was pounding, but my body felt like stone." Sophia stepped back. "I know this doesn't fix anything, but I needed to say it out loud. I needed you all to hear it." And then, for the first time in months, she sat down quietly. Silence. Then a murmur. Someone clapped. Then a few more. It wasn't applause, it was confusion and discomfort wrapped in politeness. Later, she approached me near the dessert table. No cameras, no audience. Just us. "Why now?" I asked. She looked tired. Older, even. "I lost Mark. I lost my job. I'm probably about to lose what little credibility I have left," she said. "I thought you ruined my life. But the truth is, I did that all by myself. You just refused to play along." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to yell. Another part wanted to walk away. But what I said instead was, "I hope you find peace. Whatever that looks like." She nodded, her eyes welling up. "I'm trying." She left shortly after. I don't know if she stayed the night or just vanished again. I haven't heard from her since. The aftermath wasn't a clean resolution. Some family praised her for owning up. Others thought it was a performance, another way to make herself the center of attention. My aunt tried to save face, spinning Sophia's apology as a moment of growth, but no one really bought it. James and I drove home in silence that night. I stared out the window most of the way. Finally, I asked, "Do you think she meant it?" He shrugged. "Maybe, maybe not. But it's not your job to fix her." He was right. For weeks after, I wrestled with it. Part of me felt relieved, vindicated, even. But another part mourned something I couldn't quite name. The years wasted, the trust broken, the shared childhood that now felt like a lie. I've learned that some betrayals don't come from enemies. They come from people you thought were supposed to love you. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning how to live with the cracks they left behind. I don't know what Sophia will do next. I don't know if I'll ever speak to her again. But I do know this, I'm done carrying her chaos. Whatever storm she's in now, she'll have to weather it alone.